All right, I'm a little unprepared this morning. I apologize.
Good morning. It's the Call Flo Radio Show, and you're on the air.
We have a guest today. I love guests. I love this guest maybe the most. I don't know. I shouldn't play favorites or anything, but we have Doug Stanley in the house.
My favorite radio.
Sorry about that. Oh, well, thank you very much. Well, you could repeat that if you really would.
I was going to say, you're my favorite radio.
Nope, neither one of those are working, and I know exactly why. So I'm going to have to take a second here, and maybe you will just tell us a little something about what's coming up.
No problem. First of all, Larry, I'm going to give you an update on the Board of Supervisors meeting from May 9th, this past Tuesday, and give you a few other highlights of what's going on in the community. Our meeting on the 9th, fairly well attended, which is always a good thing. We had a number of significant issues the board was able to work through. Number one, the board approved a special use permit for the Prince Edward County school system to install electronic signs or message boards for each of the schools, the elementary, middle, and high school.
Really?
And I think part of that, they've used some of their school construction funds the state has given this past year, but those new boards will help them better interact with students and parents, particularly the parents and grandparents dropping their kids off at the schools. They'll be able, changing text and messages, giving reminders and updates. The olden days, they've got the ones that you put the letters up by hand, and so I think this will be a lot more efficient and be able to put more information out.
That's great. Yeah.
The board also we had a public hearing. They approved a request from the schools for $949,999.64. These are additional federal CARES Act dollars that came out through the COVID-19 pandemic, but that helped the school system kind of get through and provide additional services during the past year.
Sorry to interrupt, but why didn't they just, round it up to 50?
So it's interesting. So the school board can only approve what the board approves. So whatever tranches of money the feds or the state give to the school system, if it's over the original budget amount, the board has to approve those appropriations. So down to the penny.
Down to the penny.
They can't spend it unless the Board of Supervisors authorizes those expenditures. So that's part of that process. Also, at the board, we received updates from our community partners at Hampton-Sydney College and Longwood. This weekend is the graduation, I believe, at Hampton-Sydney, and next week at Longwood. It was great to have Dr. Stempert and President Reevely both come in and talk to the board. Hampton-Sydney, both these institutions have a significant impact on our community in a number of ways, particularly from an economic impact. And that was emphasized at the meeting. Hampton-Sydney has about 300 staff, $20 million annually in payroll, and over 850 students in our community. Longwood, over 1,000 staff, $70 million in payroll, and 4,500 students. And a lot of those employees some live in our community, some live in our adjoining communities, but certainly that economic impact, the turnover you see when they buy goods and services in the community is significant.
It's not just that. It keeps on going.
It keeps on going.
It keeps us alive.
We had department updates from our Department of Social Services and also Tourism and Economic Development, particularly Chelsea White. We've got a lot going from an economic development standpoint right now. Obviously, we've got the Wawa, which is working its way through the process. We've got the Dollar General that's approved in Keysville. But we've got a couple other things that I'll say are percolating that I'm very hopeful in the next, say, 2 to 3 months we'll be able to have additional announcements in the community. No grocery stores. But, I think it's small steps, significant. Keep moving forward as a community, bringing in new economic development opportunity, creating jobs, creating investment in our community is important. But we've got a tourism commission that's continuing to work on strategic planning, developing and defining goals for the organization. We're working on a wayfinding signage project that will basically piggyback off of what the town's done downtown with their parking lot signs. Eventually get you off 460 into town, get you out into the county to the different attractions, things like the Sandy River Outdoor Adventures and Distillery, out to the state park facilities.
So is that committee, how big is that committee?
I want to say we've got about 8-9 folks. And
are they full-time or are they
there are part-time appointments that, Mark Smith, Karen Caton, those are some of our local business leaders that are also part of that committee. But we've also have representation from Hampton-Sydney, from Longwood, Cam Patterson from Moton and Longwood. So it's great to see our community come together, work together to promote Farmville, Prince Edward, to try to attract additional revenue from the outside.
Things like Hearts of Virginia Art Festival and stuff like that. That's going to be kind of a tough job to get people in here, but I'd sure like to see a whole bunch of people here in the summer. When the kids go, I get really lonely, It's like
we've got a new part-time marketing assistant that we'll be putting out a press release and then probably in the coming weeks. So you'll get a copy of that, and hopefully you can share that good story. But lots of good things from an economic development standpoint that are going on. Yesterday, we hosted folks from the state of Virginia, Dominion Power, in to talk about our HIT Park, which is our data center park just east of Farmville, 280-acre site that we're marketing for a data center. It's has a lot of great assets, including the fact that it has a 230 kilovolt and 115 kilovolt power lines crisscrossing the site. We've got access to high-speed fiber and water and sewer in the area. So we're working with the state to actively market that and trying to bring significant investment that could really be, I would say, a game changer for the community.
Oh yeah. So how far along kind of is that? I'm very fascinated in this one.
So the county purchased the property in the spring of 20, and we've obtained about $1.1 million, 2 different grants to help get engineering done, to get water and sewer to the site and look at road improvements. So we're working our way through that engineering now.
Right.
We want to get to from what we call Tier 3 to Tier 4 status, which is it's already zoned for that use. The next step is to get the utilities designed to get to a Tier 5 would be have utilities at the site. So, and once we get the engineering done, we'll start applying for grants for the actual construction of those utilities. So
gotcha. So at this stage, it's a proposal. It's not necessarily something that it sounds like you're doing all the work to make that happen, but it's nobody's on the other side said, we're going to come in and do a data center.
Yeah, and so there are companies like Amazon out there that are looking for sites actively.
They're always looking.
So we're trying our job, and we just we put out a press release a couple of days ago. I think I sent a copy to Flo. Okay. We're looking to. We brought Rhett Weiss, who lives locally, works for a company called Dealtech. Rhett used to work for Amazon and Google in different parts of his career. I worked with him more than 25 years ago in economic development. He worked with us to bring in my former community over $125 million in 2 big projects, and that's what he specializes in. And his job will be to get us in front of the players, get in front of an Amazon and a Google and a Facebook and Microsoft. And
it's a perfect place. It really is, and I think that's why it excites me, because it makes a lot of sense. So.
And it, again, one facility could have 500, 600, 700 million plus in investment. And
and those data centers really are so crucial and vital to the infrastructure, because of the built-in redundancy across the
absolutely. Whole So, board also approved some zoning ordinance amendments. I know that sounds mundane, but periodically the board has directed staff to go in there and look at all of our ordinance and try to look at things that need to get updated and modernized. And we added some uses, things like short-term rentals, because you hear about Airbnb and Vrbo and all those things. So we've allowed some of those uses in certain districts, some by right, some by special use permit. We also allowed mobile food establishments. You see food trucks over the place. So, some will be by right, some by special use permit. But heretofore, wasn't even mentioned in the ordinance.
Interesting.
So we're trying to get that modernized.
Keep it safe, keep it healthy, and provide service for a lot of people.
We get a lot of calls about dogs, and we've added updated definitions. We have a commercial kennel, and then we have a non-commercial kennel. So if you're 5 or more dogs 6 months in age or older, then you in theory would need in certain districts. Some like ag districts, you're by right. But there's some basically stipulations you follow. But if you're in a residential area, it's a different story.
Cool.
But again, trying to define and put basic requirements in the ordinance for things like that. We also had some other issues we addressed. We approved a contract with the Berkeley Group. They're a consultant that works in Virginia to do our comprehensive plan update. So you say, what's a comprehensive plan?
What's a comprehensive plan, Doug?
It is it's really your guide and vision for your community. The Code of Virginia, the laws we all operate under, say that every locality must have a comprehensive plan, and there are certain elements, including demographics, transportation, all these things are basic items to include. But it really is it's your vision document for the community.
Gotcha.
Where do you see this community, say, in 20 years? And it's really about trying to help define that vision. But part of that is the public process to get there.
Right.
So that includes surveys, public meetings, comment periods for folks to say, hey, this is what I want to see. And ultimately, then we go back and tweak the ordinances to match that. Yeah. So it's been a few years. COVID delayed us. I think 2014 was the last time we had a review of our comp plan. Every 5 years, it must be reviewed.
Yeah.
We're behind because of COVID. And we brought Berkeley on. One, they did the town comp plan update a couple years ago. They know this community.
Good.
And so I've seen some of their work, and particularly Richmond County. They are also very versed in solar projects and planning for solar, and that's going to be a big thing, I think, in the next 5 to 10 years for not only this community but the region.
Oh, yeah.
So we're excited. The board's approved that. We'll get that contract going. The plan is, I think, this fall to start that, and it'll probably be like a 18-month process, 18 to 24-month process to get through it. But we're excited to get that going. The other thing was approving a contract for our 2025 general reassessment. So in Virginia, typically we used to be a 6-year reassessment cycle. That's where they come in, look at your house, and say, oh, this is what the market says it's worth, right? So we are the last one. People saw significant increases. The market has still been moving pretty far along. So we've moved from a 6 to a 4-year reassessment cycle. The last one went into effect January 1 of 2021. The next one will go into effect January 1 of 2025.
Is this something that affects my taxes?
It does affect your taxes.
How does it affect my taxes,
well,
Doug?
So what's going to happen? Let's say the value.
You're going to tell me I'm going to pay more.
The value of your home went up from $500,000 to $600,000. That's a 20% increase. What on average the state law requires us to look at, what is the equalized rate? So if on whole, I think last time it was 18%. The county taxes went from, we were at 51 cents. To roll it back, the 18% would have taken it to 43. We ended up leaving the rate at 47, so that was still technically an increase. But technically the board will have to look at rolling back the rate to equalize based on the average increase in assessment values.
I kind of wondered how they did that and who does that really. But
so outside firm, professionals do all the numbers and staff. We have to then turn around and take that information and crunch it and come up with the percentages. But,
I guess it's pretty straightforward.
We're also advertising what's called a comprehensive agreement, and it's for the PPA. It's a Public-Private Infrastructure Act proposal that we got to construct the Sandy River Reservoir and build a pipeline over to the Nottoway line. The project, we're talking $52 million or so. Wow. Part of a good chunk of which is going to be offset by the potential for us to bring on as customers the 3 state facilities in Burkeville over in Nottoway, which would include the Nottoway State Prison, the Piedmont Geriatric Hospital, and VCBR, the Rehabilitative Services Facility over there. Those customers would be a significant base for us. You're talking about 500,000 gallons of water a day, day one. So that's going to help us kind of get the project off the ground. This is something the community's been talking about for 50 years since.
Really?
Yeah. The reservoir was built based off two bonds that our voters approved in the 70s and 80s.
Okay.
It was filled in 1992 to 94 time frame. And early 2000s, the board made a run at trying to build a water plant. Just didn't have any customers. So the last 2 years, our discussions and negotiations with Department of General Services has given us this opportunity, and we won't move forward unless we have that contract in hand. So that's part of the process for us, is to get those things lined up.
So I'm new here, as you know. There's probably other people out there that are new. Where's the Sandy River project actually located?
This was just a couple miles east of Farmville. So
Okay.
if you head east on 460, you'll see signs for Sandy River Reservoir.
Sandy River Reservoir. Okay.
Sandy River, Monroe Church Road.
Okay.
Make a right, and you'll go down about a mile. On the left will be the entrance to the boat landing and the parking lot there at the reservoir, and it's a beautiful scenic location. And
you have to go out there. Is there
you should.
Is there some good fishing?
I know one entity on Facebook, Burris Farmscapes, had some beautiful drone shots of this community, and they've got some great ones of the Sandy River Reservoir on their site as well.
Cool.
So go out and take a look at it.
That sounds exciting. That sounds like right on the cusp of happening, I guess.
It is. And again, it's this, I've only been here 2.5 years. This is this community's project.
Okay.
The community's been working on it for literally, we're going on 6 decades. And this is, I think it's Fisher cut bait time, right? We're getting to the point where if this is going to happen, this is our best shot.
Yeah. Well, as you were talking, I was thinking to myself, there's a lot of big picture stuff going on here, and so many different directions. It feels like it's got to be difficult to go in all these kind of different directions. I suppose, is it you just do whatever's in front of you because you have so much to get done?
Yeah, obviously a lot of balls in the air, and I want to thank my 8 members of the Board of Supervisors for their support on these things and giving us direction on what they want us to work on. Yeah. It is a lot. I came here from a larger community, 40,000 people, and I thought, okay, we're going to 22,000, and it's kind of back where my community had been at the time, 20-some years ago. But
wait, you're saying that the population is 20,000?
20. We're 20 couple here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that just Farmville incorporated?
It's Prince Edward County, including Farmville, and includes the 5,000 students that we have here.
Okay, you're counting those. Well, that's good because the numbers I was getting before we moved here was like 8,000, 9,000, and I was like,
if you're talking town plus Longwood, yes.
Really?
Yeah.
And then there's 5,000 students or so that
you got 40-some hundred at Longwood and 850 plus at Hampton Sydney. So
yeah, I sure feel it when they're gone.
A couple other projects I wanted to mention while I was here today. Of course, the Connects Broadband project. Internet access and broadband capacity are extremely important issues for our community. COVID really taught us that lesson when our kids were trying to get online and do virtual learning. I know my old house, my other community, internet would be in and out, and certainly it would freeze up. But as of May 5th, a total of 154s of what we call middle mile conduit and fiber have been installed in Prince Edward County. This is where we've got about, I think Connect says 8 to 10 subcontractors burying the orange conduit and coming back and pulling fiber and hooking it up.
Those are the guys we see on the side of the road
exactly.
most of the time.
Yes. And of that, I call it VODI, 18. That's the Virginia grant. 18 miles of that's been installed, and 136 miles we call RDOF. Those are federal dollars.
Oh.
So we've got a $10 million federal grant and a $15 million state grant that's been matched by 3.2 or so million in local dollars. Prince Edward put in 2.2. Cumberland put in a chunk. Lunenburg put in a chunk. We're covering the southern half of Cumberland, basically Route 60 south.
Okay.
A good, all the, I'll say the hinterland of Prince Edward, the area outside kind of town, outside the 460 Beltway.
Yeah. And
then the kind of, I'll say the probably left 2/3 of Lunenburg County are all being covered by this project. So right now, earlier this year, it started out, kind of went out west there, down through Prospect, and now it's kind of cutting cross country through Meharron, Verso, down towards Green Bay, heading towards Lunenburg.
Okay.
So, and then they'll come back over the next, again, 4.5 year project. They'll be filling in lots of parts. But so far, 1,677 homes and businesses have been, quote unquote, passed by this middle mile installation. We've gotten 42 customer installs, but part of that is they'll be switching over crews to come back, and we call the end mile, which is running to your house and hooking you up. That will be coming around. Hopefully, you'll see those numbers start coming up the next couple of months.
So a good profession right now would be one of those, ditch guys that, runs.
Or you could be the splicer, the guy that's actually hooking the fiber lines up and splicing it. That could be you.
There's some work to be done here. It's something that hit me, and I know it's a little off base here, but you talk a lot about grants. And I know my dad used to spend his summers, he was a teacher, so he spent his summers writing grants and stuff, or getting grants. I'm curious about how do you have several people on the grant process? Do you have the project and then you go for the grant and you see grants and then decide you want to do a project?
So, yes.
I knew you were going to say that.
We are blessed. The Commonwealth Regional Council, which is a regional planning organization that serves the region, is based here in Farmville. Melody Foster and her staff at the CRC work with the localities in the district. And they actually, for this one, they spearheaded that grant application. Todd Fortune, who works with Melody, Todd actually wrote that application. And they're also helping us with the implementation and monitoring part of the grant. It's not just getting the grant. There's a whole process of monitoring.
Yes.
We're building an industrial park access road out at the industrial park. It's a $2.8 million project. The CRC is helping us manage that project as well, handling the paperwork and the reporting, because we got two different grants. We have a grant from VDOT. We have a grant from the Tobacco Commissions. They're helping us with the paperwork and managing all that. So I look at them as an extension of our staff.
Okay.
We've got folks on, Chelsea White is our Economic Development and Tourism Director. She helps write grants as well. But it is a multiple people are involved in the process. But we certainly look out for opportunities. And just here, the next one, we just applied, and CRC helped us with this one. We applied last week for a $5 million grant for that Sandy River project. We had applied last year for a larger amount. We pared that down. And, I think it's one of those things that every piece helps, but we hope we're going to be more competitive this year. But we continuously look for opportunities and try to put in applications. We also apply for grants to support some of our nonprofits in the community as well.
Yes. It's 8:30, which means I have to do my weather and I have to do my birthdays. It's up to you. You coming back?
Yes, I will.
Fantastic. Got to find out how the family's doing. All right. This edition of The Weather is brought to you by the Bank of Charlotte County.
Hello, I'm Stuart Wilborn, manager of the Bank of Charlotte County Loan Office in downtown Farmville. I invite you to call or come by and see me about your loan needs. Whether it's time to purchase investment property, build your dream house, expand your business, or purchase timberland or farmland, you will find old school personal assistance with attention to detail. Stop by our office at 216 North Main Street or call us at 391-1136. The Bank of Charlotte County, giving you more for your banking needs. Member FDIC and Equal Housing Lender.
Thank you, Stuart. Appreciate that. Today it's going to be sunny and then a chance of thunderstorms. It looks like the thunderstorms, 30% chance is going to be later on in the evening. Overnight, it is going to be a chance of thunderstorms early and then later on a chance of showers. The high today will be 85 and tonight a low of 63. Tomorrow looks pretty nice with 80% chance of showers, but a high of 80. Saturday night, it's starting out with an 80% chance of showers and then a 50% chance of showers in after midnight with a low of 59. On Sunday, partly sunny with a high of 77 and overnight on Sunday, a low of 53 with a 40% chance of showers. On Monday, again, 40% chance of showers with a high of 69. So we're cooling off a little bit. Monday night, partly cloudy, low of 49. And then Tuesday, we get sunny skies and the temperature comes up to 81 degrees. So the Bank of Charlotte County with branch locations in Phoenix, Charlotte Courthouse, Brookneal, and their loan offices in downtown Farmville. The birthday calendar is brought to you by Terry Atkins Wilson.
The law office of Terry Atkins Wilson, PC, is located at 117 North Main Street in downtown Farmville. With deep roots in Farmville and our surrounding communities, Terry and her legal staff specialize in real estate law, wills and trusts, business formations, and collections. Experience and professionalism are extended to every customer in every case. The needs and concerns of every customer are their primary focus. If you have legal needs, contact the law office of Terry Atkins Wilson, PC, for a consultation at 434-392-1422.
All right, it is birthday time. Happy birthday to Winnie Brown of Dillwyn. Also, on the 12th is Donna Bremer. And we'll take it day by day. So, the 12th, we also have Betty Macy. And we also I have 3 different lists here that I'm scrolling through. Let's get this right. Grayson Hensley, happy birthday. Trey Skeens, happy birthday to you. Melanie Lee, happy birthday. Kelly Horn and Trip Rothwell, happy birthday. Now, tomorrow, on the 13th, Joyce Norton has a birthday, plus Dustin Jemigan and Emerson Cole Roten and Daniel Gifford. Happy birthday to those folks. On the 14th, we have a birthday, Margaret Atkins, and also Sally Motley, Dolly Worthy, and Archer Southall. Fantastic names today. Happy birthday to Sherry Wise today. Now, on Mother's Day, don't forget Mother's Day. Got to get some flowers. Sorry. Flossie Blevins. I hope I said that right. Happy birthday. Alex Burgess. Happy birthday. Some anniversaries here. Brittany Howard and Gage Amos. Jack and Lula Mae Atkinson. And James E. Johnson. So I think I got everybody's birthday. If not, I apologize. But you can send your birthdays at general@wflo.net. For the right legal advice, visit Terry Atkins Wilson, PC, on Main Street in Farmville. I'm back. Thank you for sticking around. I really appreciate that. There's a lot going on these days. I don't know how you keep it all. You have a lot of help, I hope.
A lot of help, and we had a community meeting down in Meharon. Supervisor Jerry Townsend, who's also superintendent of the regional jail, he had his lead district meeting last night at the Meharon Fire Department, and
nice. I
think I got out there about 8:30. It was another long night last night.
Oh, you're one of those.
One other thing, VDOT has been out working on, I'll say, a reconfiguration. Really, it's a repaving.
Did you say REDOT?
VDOT. VDOT has been, Virginia Department of Transportation is working on, I'll say, a reconfiguration of the 307, the Holly Farms 460, I'll say, intersection.
Right.
Where, a few years back, they upgraded that intersection, and when you come westbound, basically the right lane goes north on 307 and the left lane stays west on 460. A lot of consternation in the community. We've had a lot of accidents. At that split, there's some concrete islands that we've had accidents. Trucks go flying across the concrete medians. So the Board of Supervisors basically asked VDOT to go. We know it's a new project. Go back to the table and relook at the striping and everything to try to, can we reduce the speed? Can we make some other improvements to make it more clear for the traveling public where they need to be? And so VDOT is repaving and striping. They were trying to complete that work by May 12 today, but I just learned they've got to come back Sunday and Monday nights. They've got some, I'll say, repair work to do on the new pavement sections. So it looks like that won't be finished till probably Tuesday or Wednesday of next week.
Okay.
So I just want to make sure they'll put out some electronic message boards and public notifications. We'll push that on Facebook to try to make sure people know that. But there had to be some detours for folks out there using, I believe, Sailors Creek Road on westbound 307 coming towards Farmville, where they detoured you down Sailors Creek Road down to 460. So that there'll be some more of that for the coming week, and hopefully then we'll be quote unquote done.
I'm sure that some people will be glad when it's finished.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. The other big project that's going on, the county has a number of what we call convenient sites. Those are sites where you take your trash.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we've got sites at Rice, at Worsham, Verso, Tuggle, which is at the landfill itself, out in Prospect, Darlington Heights areas of the community. And one of the things probably the most complaints that I get are because every citizen, every household uses those convenience sites. You live out in the county. One's in town have town pickup. That's one thing. But if you live out in the county, you take your trash to one of those sites.
Yeah. That's what I do.
So potholes, mud in the winter. It's hard to get rid of ice when it's gravel and dirt. Right. So we are going to upgrade the sites and eventually upgrade to pavement and new fencing, new screening, new LED lighting. They will have, and this one's going to have at Rice, leachate collection. So when you put all your trash in the compactor and the compactor compacts it, all the liquids get squeezed out, right?
Yeah.
So we're sitting right next to the Sandy River there, right? So you want to make sure you're collecting anything that somebody were to throw a quart of oil in there, and you know that we wouldn't be able to see because it's in a trash bag. We want to be able to make sure that doesn't go where it's not supposed to. So the new site is under construction. Plan completion should be around July 1.
Okay.
So we're really excited to get that project moving along. It was one of the top in our capital improvement plan list. So that we're going to have a new site. We're using the Lees Retreat Wayside, which is right out there on 460, which has the signage showing Robert E. Lee's Retreat. Basically from Petersburg to Appomattox and the surrender. But we're using that wayside right now on a temporary basis to provide service to our citizens in the Rice area. But we're excited, and our staff's excited about having a new facility. And this hopefully will be the kind of the prototype for others in the county. The next site we're going to look at is upgrading is Worsham. So once we finish this one, we'll start to take a look and start on the design work at Worsham and start moving forward.
The big thing that we noticed when we got here, and we have the same situation, obviously, was recycling. We love to recycle. And it seems like it would be fairly easy to have a recycling bin there. It may be even a couple that have specific stuff. And probably you need signs to let people know that they aren't going to take it if it's dirty. It has to be clean. It has to be, but I know a lot of people passionately want to recycle.
Absolutely. We have a partnership with STEPS. STEPS is our local community housing action organization. STEPS, we haul our recycling to STEPS, and they recycle.
Really?
They sort and recycle it.
Wow.
One of the issues we have, we'll have bins for plastics. We'll have bins for cardboard. Is that stuff gets thrown into the wrong bin?
Yes.
And when you have, we call it a dirty load. When you have a dirty load that's mixed with trash,
whole thing
has to get thrown away. Yeah. We had recycling bins at town at Tractor Supply in the parking lot.
Yeah.
I recommended to the board, and we pulled them because I had multiple loads of plastics that had to be thrown away because people would throw their trash in.
Because it was convenient there.
And because I wasn't staffing that site. If I'm staffing the site, we have a better chance. Our staff can keep an eye on making sure the right stuff. It's still going to couldn't happen, but better chance to keep it from happening. So at Rice, we've greatly increased the size of the facility. We've got additional pad space where we can put down dumpsters to have, plastics fill up. Plastics are lightweight stuff. Plastics, cardboard fill up fast, and when you fill up, you're waiting on the next one. We can have multiple, a backup container there ready to go. So it'll give us greater flexibility moving forward, and we're excited about that.
Something that I used a lot, and I actually had a little store in Cotati, California, called the Man Cave Imagination Center. And one of my things was repurpose, reuse, recycle. And so we had a place there that you could go drop off those appliances or tables and chairs and stuff that are still usable, and you don't want to throw it away, and somebody else can use that. Now, if you're staffed, it seems like you could actually make some money on that process.
I've seen other communities try it, and the problem is it really turns into the world's largest rummage sale, and you end up tossing 80% of it anyway, and just it becomes a logistical nightmare to try to manage some of that stuff.
Yeah. What they had was a private company that did it. They were right next to the recycle or the dump. And
one of the other things we are working on is, and we have not been having here in this community, is a household hazardous cleanup day. And that is where, if you've got paint, solvents, household cleaners that, it's in a jug, you don't know what the date is, it's been around for 20 years, you're not really sure what it is and what it's used for, you bring it to that location that day. We would have a company there to take all those chemicals and properly dispose of them, because that keeps it out of the landfill, keeps it out of our drinking water.
I think that's fantastic. So, actually, that is so good to provide that service. I think we've been reading a public announcement about that type of thing.
But we're working on that, and I don't know if it'll be later this year or next year, but that's something that staff wants to make happen. It's in that to-do list pile, but we think it's something that's good. If you've been riding around town here the last week, we've been working hard on our courthouse lawn project. One of the last things on the building itself was repainting of the cupola.
Say that again, the cupola?
The cupola. The cupola has the light of reconciliation. That's where back in, I think, 2010 or so, 2010, the board erected a monument out there and acknowledged its participation in basically the lockout of our school system here. But we have the finials. They look like urns up there that were wooden, that were rotten and split, and so we've had a local craftsman, Al Busick, has taken some redwood and turned some new finials. Those will be installed. That'll be one of the last components. But we've had a contractor up there in the last week completely scraping and repainting the cupola. So we're excited to get that part of the project completed as well.
Well, I remember last 4th of July, didn't they do the fireworks on top of the building? Is that
Town Hall? They did. I believe Town Hall did that. Yep.
Are they going to do that again this year?
I think that's the plan. Yes.
Really? Okay. Well, that will be nice.
I think Dr. Davis, town manager, I think they've been trying to get bigger and better each year. But I think having it downtown, I think is kind of cool, and that supports the local restaurants and bars and other establishments downtown that can get folks. Anything that brings people downtown, I think, is a good thing. Right?
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, because I was driving a lot of Amish people around, and they kept telling me that the fireworks at the airport, and I'm like, cool, that's a good place for them. And
that's where they used to be. I believe.
That's what I hear.
Yeah. So you bring everybody out to the airport, but there's not really a whole lot to do out there. So you bring them downtown, and all of a sudden, okay, the fireworks are over. What do I do? Oh, I go out to eat or whatever. So I think it's an opportunity for downtown.
It's very clever of you.
Well, the town and that one. I'll give Scott credit for that one.
Right on. So how's the family?
Everybody's doing good. It's busy for me. Actually, today is my mother's 81st birthday.
Wow.
She's in town here. My daughter graduates this coming Saturday from the University of Virginia, so that's exciting.
Congratulations.
And this past Wednesday, she just had her wedding shower. She's getting married in August. So lots of activity at my household this time of year. So
I remember when my sisters got married, there was nothing else that existed except for the weddings. Well, that's neat. That's very cool. And, so the whole family's doing well.
Everybody's doing well, and my son will be wrapping up his 9th grade year of high school here at Prince Edward County High School, and my wife's a teacher at the middle school, so lots of.
They enjoy the summer.
It's going to be an action-packed summer, but yes, everybody's looking
one
forward
that
to it.
No one will forget. Do you mind if I'm going to ask the audience out there if you have any questions for Doug, call 434-394-0924. If you have any questions, clarifications, whatever you'd like, give us a call and we will ask Doug those questions. I'm not seeing the phone ring.
That's okay. And I know a lot of folks go back and listen to it on your kind of podcast.
Yeah, I'll get it back up there, and I'll blank all of a sudden.
You wouldn't believe the number of people that will come up to me after and say, "Hey, I listened to the show."
Well, that's good. Well, I'm glad to know that. WFLO, you're on the air.
Oh, good morning.
Hey, first-time caller. How you doing, man?
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
I have a couple quick questions.
Okay.
And it's just, I guess they're, I would call them dinner table talk. So I was the one, I guess, chosen to pursue the answers.
Yes.
All right. The the first one is the airport. That's privately owned. Is that correct?
Actually, it's owned by the town of Farmville. I think they are talking about maybe trying to sell that asset, or come up, maybe lease it to somebody else. But kind of like the golf course, the town sold the golf course. They're looking at possibly selling the airport, but currently it is a town of Farmville property. The county, Prince Edward County and Cumberland County, both contribute. I think maybe it's $5,000, an amount we contribute to them that helps them with their grant applications. But town of Farmville owns and operates the airport.
The airport. Nice.
Yeah, because it looked like there was, like $1.5 million allocated for the airport.
Honestly, all I know is our local piece, which is small, but a lot of that ultimately, they get fuel revenue and hangar rental. Airports make money by selling fuel. Right. And I've flown out. I've had somebody take me up, and then you make money by hangar rentals, and tie down fees for airplanes. Those and sometimes you might have a maintenance mechanic that might lease space at the airport. That's how airports, quote unquote, make money to offset those costs. But
go ahead.
No, and then I'm sure the town has to put in some general fund revenue to help augment that as well, and that's probably why they're looking to possibly sell it.
Yeah, because I was real curious as well as upset when they when I saw that this money was allocated, and it seems like probably a majority of people that use it are not residents of Farmville. But yet they shut down the golf course because residents weren't using it. Out-of-town people were using it, and it was costing us, $200,000 a year. But the airport is costing us, I would assume, quite a bit more, and almost none of the residents are using it. It's just a complaint, not a. You don't have to respond.
No. I'll say again. I think they're looking at that. So I think obviously. Priorities change over the years. At some point, it must have been a priority for the creation of the airport, and now maybe it's the priorities change. It's like this weekend, right? Hampton City has graduation. I know there are folks that will be flying in for graduation that stay in the area, and they aren't quote unquote local. They're supporting a local entity, but they might be able to tell you how many local pilots own planes at the airport versus out of town. What's the traffic like? All those things I don't know. But they're not paying $1.5 million of local dollars. What you want to look at is kind of what is the net cost to the town, because all those fuel and hangar fee, all that revenue helps to offset the operating costs. But I give the town a call. Give Scott Davis a call. I'm sure he'd be glad to kind of go through that with you.
Cool.
And then here is another question. It's in reference to the school system. It seems like they're in desperate need of money. And I was wondering how much money did we save by what did we shut down it was at home learning for a year and a half. There must have been a lot of money generated for no janitors or heating or cooling or buses or. So
I've been here about 2.5 years. I've been through. Okay. All right. Let's see. I'm doing some math in my head. The FY21 budget, I think they saved somewhere in the neighborhood of about $1.8 million. The Board of Supervisors took that savings and put it into a capital account and said, this is for our elementary school renovation project or whatever other projects you have going on. Last year's funds, I don't know the total last year. They probably last year saved a couple, $1.5 million to $2 million. My anticipation is that money also will be put into a capital account. So it's not like if they don't spend it, they don't automatically get it back. The Board of Supervisors would have the discretion to give it back, give part of it back, give it back for certain purposes. So
can they give it to me?
No.
Oh, sorry.
No.
So we could just give it back and somebody save it. It seems like we all have to. When we have it, like whether we need it or not, we got to spend it, man, or else.
No, there's no spend it or else. Yeah. So that's the good thing, and I think the smart play is use those things for one-time purchases. if you need to replace some HVAC units on a building, that's when you pull that money out of the pot and use it. If you use it for ongoing things like salaries, at some point you'll run out of that, and then where does that money come from? So I think those are the things that you want to think about as you work your way through the budget.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. And here's my final question. With all these, I guess, businesses coming in and the solar projects, I guess, getting on board, and we have the, what are they called, significant investments? Is that the term? How come we don't see any, you would think with all this additional revenue being possibly generated or generated in the future, that they keep, the tax people keep nipping on our heels. We're going to raise it a little bit. Let's raise it a penny for this. Going to town and eating or drinking or blah, blah. And
so
they keep taxing us.
So
when we see a reduction.
All right. So first, and you got town and county, but I can speak from the county side, right? So in this year, we did a 4-cent real estate tax increase. We based the budget this year on the existing rate. We had to increase. We're doing the Sandy River Reservoir project, which is a $52 million project, and then we're looking at a $30 to $35 million elementary school renovation. 1 cent of real estate generates $175,000 a year. It's a drop in the bucket compared. But what my board is trying to do, your board, is to look at some incremental increases over a multi-year period. Maybe you skip a year next year, but incremental versus an all-at-one-time type of approach. I will say, you mentioned solar. We've only had one solar project actually constructed in Prince Edward, and it is a 20 acre site that probably generates $5,000 a year in tax revenue. It's not it's huge. We've had a 300 acre site that's been approved, but the process takes about 4. Once the locality approves it, takes 3-4 years to go through they call it FERC, but it's through regulatory approval at the state and federal level to be interconnected into a power grid. So it may be 5 years before it gets built. So, we really, Wawa was approved by the county this year. They haven't started construction. We're hoping this summer. By the time that gets open and complete, it may be a year or two before you ever see any real or significant tax revenue. So some of these things are a little bit longer play that take time to see that incremental change, but the bottom line is you want things in the pipeline that are moving forward.
Okay.
The county this year adopted a meals tax, and we just implemented that, and all the proceeds of that go towards school capital improvements, and we're estimating maybe a couple $100,000 a year, but those only affect the restaurants outside town limits. So you're talking about maybe the Old Fish and Pig, and they do a few activities. They have a food truck there. You've got like the Sandy River distillery that if you go out there and buy 2 drinks, then you're paying a tax on that. You've got places like Blue and Gray, Rick's Market. You've got all the Pamplin Exxon, the mom and pop stores around the community that sell made to eat hamburgers, hot dogs, barbecue, things like that. Those will get taxed, but those aren't significant compared to a North Street Press Club and a Charlie's and those types of entities. So, I think the board. When I got here a couple years ago, directed me, said, let's look at ways to diversify our tax base so we're not simply looking at the people that own a property and own vehicles. So we have instituted the lodging tax and the meals tax, and we're trying to look at things that broaden the tax base, maybe shift some of that burden over to the renters and maybe the college students that live in the community, all those types of things. But the board is very cognizant of the impact on the taxpayer. Our tax rate this year is going to be 51 cents. It's still one of the probably 10 lowest in the state of Virginia out of 95 counties, and we're cognizant of that. And we want to be competitive from an economic development standpoint, but unfortunately, to make investment and improvements in the community, sometimes you're going to have to spend money. But I think the board's trying to be very prudent and deliberate about how that's done, and not over impact our residents.
Well, and one of the things that I recognize, too, that is refreshing for me is that there seems to be transparency about what's going on and where the money's going. It drove me crazy in California where you have no idea where that money's going. So I do appreciate that. I don't want to pay more taxes. Nobody does. But I think your point is outstanding. You kind of have to spend some money to make some money.
Well, and I think, again, hopefully we're showing the residents, look, we balance the checkbook for the current based on existing rates, and the additional is purely for specific projects.
Mm-hmm.
Folks know what it's going to.
Go ahead.
So I guess, as one famous president said, you cannot say no new taxes.
No.
You can't. You can't.
I'm glad that you're honest. Thank you.
Exactly. No problem. Thanks for calling.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Hey,
Goodbye.
take care, man.
Uh-huh.
He's our best caller, I think. One of them. So, yeah, we got a few minutes left. Any last parting remarks you'd like to make?
No. Our Board of Supervisors meets again on June 13.
Mm-hmm.
And, we'll keep trucking along. Hopefully have some good updates next month for you as well.
I'm excited about some of this stuff. I don't know why, but I'm mostly excited about that data center. I just have this sense that it's going to sort of change the Farmville thing and make it more inviting. And
check your email for the station this week, and you'll see that press release. We're excited about, I think, what we call is kind of actively marketing. We've had the site on the Dominion's website, the Virginia Economic Development website, our website, passively marketing. So if somebody's out looking, they will see it on the website. Now we're in a position where we're making the phone calls. We're sending the emails. So we're being much more active and purposeful and trying to find somebody to come in.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for coming in, and I look forward to seeing you next month. And I hope the wedding and the graduation and all that goes really well.
Appreciate that. I'll be able to give you an update next month.
Right on. Take care. That was Doug Stanley in the house today. Hope everybody out there is having a lovely day. The weather is looking very nice. It is 64 degrees out there. 84% humidity with the winds out of the south at 8 miles an hour. It looks like we're going to have a little turbulent weather, let's say. Chances of thunderstorms and showers throughout the weekend until Sunday. But Sunday's the day that you want clear, because you do not want to forget Mother's Day. Do not forget your mother. I think that's it for me. Thank you for listening. Thank you for calling. And again, I really do hope you have a fantastic day. 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 Fantastic day.